Hey, this is Wire with the Creative Habits Podcast, and this week we're continuing our venture into storytelling using actually video. And a lot of people might think, oh, wow, don't you use video at the end? I mean, you figure out your story, you tell it, and video is kind of this clean rendition of the whole setup. But tell you a little story about acting. We used to do acting in high school and college, and one of the fun exercises we did was filming ourselves acting. And watching that film, we're able to get instant feedback from, like, let's say the way we're sitting or the way we're standing, the way we're expressing ourselves. It may or may not work for a particular character. So we're able to basically get that instant feedback and then use it in, whatever show we're doing. So to use the same idea, recording yourself, filming yourself, gives you that instant feedback. So when you're going through your story, if you go ahead and record it, you can listen to it, and then you can kind of understand, oh, okay, here's where it gets interesting. Oh, I can, alter, how I'm telling it here or how I'm telling it there. So that's an exercise. There are more exercises, storytelling, but we're going to be delving into video. One of the cool things about video is you can just film, erase, film again, erase, film again. So, how would you start with video? Here's Matt Pete from a previous episode. Kind of gives us a clue into how to utilize song and video together.
Work that we do before we even shoot to kind of get a grasp on what we need. We took the song that Dan gave us, and this is what we do for our weddings as well. Whenever we do same-day edits for weddings, we put the song in our editor, and we go through and listen to the song, and we mark out all of the beats in the song that we want to have a cut at. So if you're in Premiere Pro, which is what I use, and I'm sure every other software has their version of this too, whenever you're playing the timeline, if I hit M on my Premiere Pro, kind of like in Adobe Audition here, if you hit M, it puts down a marker, and I do that before we even shoot the event. So like 2 days before the event, I'm listening to the song, and I'm putting down markers at the times in the song where I know I want there to be a cut. So before we even go into the event, I know how many usable shots that I need to have to make that video good.
So there's one way to look at it from Matt Pete, is taking a song, going through, finding the beats, and then those are the amount of places where you'll have a different shot. So then you know how many shots you want. And then it's just a matter of figuring out, okay, what are the different angles, and how can I get those different angles? Okay, so we all know that stories have their different angles, different spins. It just depends on how you look at it. So the same thing is when you're doing your video, what's your angle? And how can you think about it in terms of your view of that and switch up that view? Here's Matt Pete on how to establish that and how and why you'd want to establish those different angles.
To think about your subject matter in 360 degrees, all the way around them. What is the most compelling angle that you can get of your subject matter to make it interesting for the people watching the video to really put them in it? And when you do that, what you have to get a tight, a medium, and a wide shot. That way you have the establishing, you can get in and get some detail. It gives you more choices.
Okay, so it's all about choices and having all those choices when you're putting your video together. So in the book, How to Shoot Video That Doesn't Suck, Steve Stockman actually gives the advice, go and think of your camera like a still camera first. Go and take your shot, or go up and look at it through the LCD screen and get it clear, then press record. Record for a bit, stop, then move to a different spot and do the same. So you're basically reducing the movement that you're doing with the camera, and you're setting up established shots. All of these you can kind of put together later in your video, using the music or what have you. Now, if you're just doing an about video, obviously you could set it up a couple different cameras from a couple different angles so you can switch back and forth, and you can still get that, far, medium, and close-up. And those close-ups, which are really important because the facial features really tell more of a story than anything else.
A lot of times when you're shooting people, you just need to be still and let the action that they're doing be the motion in the shot. Let them tell the story and don't distract from that with any movement from the camera. But if you're shooting something, an inanimate object, it's not moving, I've found that it helps to add, if you have a slider or something, add a simple motion into there. Because if not, I found that it just looks like you're throwing a picture into your video, which can be fine if you know how to do that. But if that's not what you're going for, that's a lot of times what it ends up looking like.
What's interesting about all this is how it ties together with story itself. Because you'd still, with the story, to be interesting, even if it's backstory, you still have those beats and those moments when you need to change it up a little bit, when people will get a little bit too comfortable with the story as it is, and you need to break it up with a question. You need to come in there with something else. By going through the video creation process, you've actually able to flesh out your story a bit more and understand what you want to say a bit more. So instead of it being a finalization, as video is seen as, instead think of it as helping your process along. Use it as a tool. So there are all kinds of technical things, obviously, you can know about video, but at the basics, it is a storytelling medium. Why not use that and show your story and thereby engage an audience a little more effectively? So hope you enjoy this week's episode. That's about it. And we'll be having more interviews soon. Keep your habits intact and your beginner's mind alive.